Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
We'll take roll call by everybody introducing themselves. Chuck, do you want to start, please?
Chuck Quick, District 5.
Rocky Gilner, District 2.
Bruce Knockreiner, citizen member.
Randy Season, citizens member.
Jody Shapey, District 7 supervisor.
Larry Baru, District 4.
Barb Morgan, District 6.
Dustin Grant, planning and zoning administrator.
Hannah? All right, we need a motion to approve the agenda, and there will be a change. The Donna and James hearing will be tabled until July.
So move.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
The same with against. We have an agenda. Approve the minutes from the last meeting. Rocky approves. A second.
Second.
A second from Chuck. All in favor? Raise your hand or
Aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. And Mr. Jerry wants to go home early tonight. He's first. And is he here? No, he left already. We have a written report from Jerry, the surveyor for the county. And Jody Helgeson will not be here. She's on vacation, and her notes are in our emails. We'll go right into the public hearings. Dusty?
The first application is for Douglas and Catherine Haffenbrettel. Rezoning request of a parcel 40 acres from A2 Ag Transition to R1 Residential on property located in the northeast quarter, southwest quarter, section 27, Township 19, North Range 5 East, Town of Monroe, Adams County. There is no address of the property. Are the Haffenbrettels on the call?
All right, I see Doug.
We're here. We're here.
All right, do you have anything to add to what Dusty said?
No, we don't have an address, so there's nothing really to add, just asking for rezoning, no.
Yes.
And part of the application material is there was a certified survey map submitted that is pending review, or we can't approve it until, or it's in our review group, but we can't approve it until if a rezone was approved. But that's their proposed land division in the 3 5-acre parcels, a 10 and a 19.5.
Yes.
And I do have someplace here. I know it's attached to the agenda. The town of Monroe did approve it, I believe.
Yes.
There it
A
is.
question that I have is, did the comp plan, it doesn't say that it goes with their comp plan.
Yeah, they didn't address that.
We don't need to get into any problems.
Right. That was something that the town did not address on the town level. Let me see.
And what, I'm sorry, what was that, a comp plan?
What they're referring, am I muted? What they're referring to is the comprehensive plan. There is a state law saying that all land use decisions are supposed to be consistent with the comprehensive plan in the town.
Okay.
Do you know if they discussed that at all on the town level?
They did not. The properties surrounding that are primarily the R1, R2. right adjacent to the 40-acre field and directly kitty corner. It's all zoned R1 and down the road. So it's, most of it is either,
It bumps up to a subdivision.
right.
Okay. I was gonna look it up on the mapping to see if we have that. Just give me a second here.
Okay.
It appears the comprehensive plan shows it as the forestry area. From what I
Okay,
can,
It's a vacant field right now. Scott Kotlowski was the previous owner, and he had all the trees cleared. He was gonna farm it at one time, but it got too wet. And so he just left the land sit. We dug a trench across it, and now it's all dried out completely.
But it was plantation several years ago, probably 5 years ago.
Probably 5 years ago, yeah, small trees.
Yeah.
all right, here, I'll share my screen. This is the parcel that they're requesting this on. That's a
Yes.
subdivision on the right side, and they do
Correct.
also, the Haffenbrettels also own this
Correct.
property.
And we own the property that kind of,
The
Our-
woods on the west side of it. we
our
also
home
own.
is right there. Yes, that's our home. That's our cabin.
And then the future land use mapping, green is all forested area, or future land use of forestry.
So Dustin, could we approve this conditionally upon Monroe making it conform with their land use?
I think we would have to go like they did in the town of Adams or Lincoln. And they have to have the town take care of that and then come back, don't they?
I think Barb is on the right track. If the town didn't address it, would have been nice if they had. As far as conditionally approving it,
Well, it looked like from their comprehensive plan that even where our cabin is, they had that as forestry, didn't it?
correct.
So that doesn't look accurate either. And, you know, to be honest with you, all of the trees in that area are dead anyway because they sat in water for so long and nothing was done. So it's like that's a subdivision. It's not forestry anyway in the property where our home is. So the plan is already not being met. It already was rezoned without meeting their comprehensive plan, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, zoning and comprehensive plan are two different things. The comprehensive plan is where they envision the any given property or their town or an area going in the
Right.
next 10
Right.
to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that was through a lot of public input is what they came up with for that area.
Mm-hmm.
The concern the committee has is that they're not approving this rezoning into a residential district doesn't match that plan. And recently we did have one that was very similar where it didn't match the plan. And the town actually needed to change the plan before the rezoning would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So right now what they're discussing is the next step. I guess my recommendation would be to table the application, allow the town to address the consistency with the comprehensive plan.
Well, so can you bring up the comprehensive plan again? Can you share that screen with us, just so we understand? Okay, so the bright green, is that the forestry?
Yep.
So our subdivision, that's what I'm saying is like, if you look at their comprehensive plan, well, our subdivision is in the forestry area.
Correct.
And that's already been rezoned to R1.
No.
Yes, it has, where
Our entire 40 there is R1
or R2.
or R2,
Right.
yeah.
The pink at the bottom are R2. The properties at the north are R1 large lot.
Okay,
The town of Monroe adopted zoning about 4 years ago, and at that time, that's what they chose to zone those properties. Now they have a comprehensive plan, now they have zoning. State law is very clear that any land use decisions are supposed to be consistent with that comprehensive plan.
Okay, boy, yeah, I wish we would have known that 2 months ago when we started this. It's gonna drag
Well, and
out
that's where the town was, when you went to the town, the idea is that they address it at that time.
but you were at the meeting.
Yeah, you were there and it wasn't brought up at all.
That was the one I was at.
Yes.
They discussed it,
Well, if they discussed it.
but they
then-
didn't
because they
mark
approved
anything
it.
on the form.
Yeah, they approved it all wholeheartedly. They were no concerns about it at all.
And the one that you had come there to represent or whatever, they denied that one right next to the town hall.
Well, he didn't represent it.
You didn't represent
No.
him, but he had talked to you ahead of time.
Mhm.
But
Ours, they approved without any question.
Right.
I think I'm just as concerned because of the one in Easton and having to do litigation again.
Barb,
Yes,
this is Larry. I
Yeah.
make a motion to send that back to the town and have them do it right.
thank you. Second,
Second.
Chuck seconded. All in favor? Aye, raise your hand. Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, this will be sent back to the town for them to address, please, and then we'll bring it up at the July meeting. Dahlman Trust.
The next request is Dahlman Trust, rezoning request of a portion of a parcel, 1 acre, from A3 secondary ag to R1 residential on property located in the northwest quarter, southwest quarter, section 3, township 14 north, range 6 east, town of Del Prairie. Address is 995 Gale Drive. I do have the signed form from town of Del Prairie, does fit the land use plan. It's residential rural housing in the area, and that May 11th is at their meeting. I did not receive any correspondence, I don't believe. Nope. Is somebody from the Dahlman Trust here?
Yes, yep.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I don't believe so. Everything looked good on their end. Everything looked good on their end, so I guess we were okay.
Committee, do you have any questions? Does anybody have any questions at all? I guess I have to look on here because of 2 of our committee members are on. Okay, we'll open it up for any buddy that might want to speak in favor of the Dahlman Trust rezone. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone that would like to speak against it? Is there anyone that would like to speak against it? It's in the committee's hands.
I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. A second?
Second.
A second from Bruce. We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aren't you gonna
Aye.
do roll call?
Aye.
Oh, let's do roll call. I'm sorry. Roll call vote. I'm sorry.
Hannah, did you say me? Okay, yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
All right. It passed and it will go before the county board on the 15th at 6 o'clock. Scott
you.
and Joanne Zielinski.
The next application is Scott and Joanne Zielinski, rezoning request of a portion of a parcel 2 acres from conservancy to recreational residential on property located in the northeast quarter, lot 35 of CSM 643, section 13, township 16 north, range 6 east, town of Easton, 2635 County Road B. You guys should have the map. Well, let's first start with the town of Easton did approve the application at their May meeting. Their planning commission looked at it and said, okay. If you look at the mapping, we've brought up conservancy, how the mapping's off. Sam and I have started working on that, but this is another case where you can see the stream going through not quite the middle of that green strip. So the green strip and the yellow part should actually be shifted over about another 75 feet, which leaves them minimal area to actually build. The idea is to go right off of the corner of the property at the top.
Dustin, we can't see what you were sharing.
Yeah, I haven't shared anything yet. Now I should be right. No. Let's try it this way. So I don't know if you can, if everybody can see that now. The green should be shifted over, but the proposed building site is right. Wow, doing this backwards. Jeez. It's right about there. They've already had a soil test done. I believe it passed for a conventional system. I know that was submitted as part of the application on the agenda. No. Looks like it'd be an at-grade system, so not quite a mound, but close. But it does pass. So that's the request is to take out a little bit of that conservancy area to be able to build the house. It says mound on the plot plan, but I do actually think it's an at-grade.
Do you have anything to add? Scott and Joanne Zielinski?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to get in front of the board. Some folks. So we're excited about building our retirement home on our property, right? That's been our recreational land for 12 years. We bought the place in 2008 from the Winklemans. They had it for 25. The intent is that we're going to put our house there. We had residential corner of the property zoned when we had the property rezoned the forest land, and we kept a section of it residential of having a home put there. I think we were surprised that there was a conservancy that took as much of the property was what was identified on the plat. So we are asking that you give us this waiver so that we can build a home there. And the intent is, I think it's a nice dream, right? You got a whole in a house and driveway and add to the economy of the area and add to the township. So look forward to your approval.
Are there any questions from the committee? Are there any questions from the committee? Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone that wants to speak against this?
I would like to speak.
Will you please state your name, address, and what else? Name, address, and you're limited to 3 minutes.
My name is Vanessa Laporte. I am speaking on behalf of Vicky Flater and Richard Kitchen. They are the current owners of our property at 2625 County Road B in Easton. They are here as well. We are an adjacent property and we have several concerns. One of them would be the fact that this is going to be rezoned as residential, or I'm sorry, recreational residential. The things that can fall under that umbrella are concerning, such as subdivision developments, mobile home developments. We're just kind of concerned as to why it couldn't be rezoned under a different residential. Like, I think there's R1, R2, there's several, I don't know them well, but there's other options. Also, the floodplain is concerning to us. We've had this property in the family for over 50 years. As of last year, we actually had the worst flooding we've ever had. We're concerned that there was things that were already being done because, I mean, like I said, we've been there for over 50 years. So we are concerned that there's going to be issues that arise as they start to build that would cause problems to our property. So I guess we're looking for more details as well. It's not that we oppose a single family residential home. That's not our concern. It's everything else that falls under those umbrellas. And where it looks like the mound, if we can read the map correctly, it looks like that's going in a floodplain. I mean, there's just a lot of concern with where this property could go in the future and what's going to happen with water issues.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I can address some of those. I am going to share my screen here. The property in question here is this one. The orange is what is mapped as floodplain. The proposed site, you can see that little white, I think that's their camper maybe. It's going just south of that, right in this area, so it is not in a mapped floodplain. There are different rules that apply to that. The person who was just speaking, this is their property. As far as water runoff, there's state laws saying you can't cause water runoff onto a neighboring property, but the property is not mapped in the floodplain by FEMA. There's actually 2 zoning districts that apply in this situation. One is the comprehensive zoning district, and here's the map for that. The property is already zoned R3, which is residential, which as of right now does allow for mobile homes to be placed in there. This request, that R3 rezone or R3 zoning district would not be changed. That is not part of this application. The shoreline zoning ordinance is the one that they are requesting be changed from conservancy to recreational residential. In shoreline zoning, there are only 2 choices, recreational residential or recreational residential conservancy. The permitted uses are single family dwellings, home occupations, and a lot of non-structural things. So there's actually very few uses that are permitted in recreational residential in the shoreland areas. And you have to go by whichever is more restrictive. In this case, it would be the shoreland ordinance. And because the shoreland ordinance is there, it does take away the possibility of putting in a single wide mobile home. They do already have a contractor. They are putting in a modular or double wide manufactured home. But those are, and you can see the area that is yellow that goes across the person who just spoke's property. That is recreational residential. Essentially what's happening is the yellow would continue down another 2 acres or encompass another 2-acre portion. I don't know if that addresses everybody's.
So there wouldn't be an opportunity, the word recreational was a big flag to us. We just wanted things clarified. So it wouldn't be that in the future they could put up, let's say, apartment building or anything like that. It would just be the single family.
Right, so in the ordinance, every zoning district has certain uses that are permitted. In this case, year-round single-family dwellings for owner occupancy. It's a little inaccurate, just the way it reads, but home occupation, professional home offices are permitted. Domestic animals, so dogs, cats, accessory structures, so your garage, essential utility services, signs, but there's a whole other section of the ordinance that regulates those. And that's, I think, in every district, those are allowed. And then you get into hiking, harvesting of wild crops, some ag uses, a lot of other stuff that you would see around the water areas. Recreational residential is a term that the state uses when they talk about shoreline zoning districts. And it's very common throughout the state that that's what it ends up being.
And is there anything else besides like garages that fall under that term accessory?
Decks, detached storage buildings. The definition of accessory structure is something subordinate to principal use on the property. And they wouldn't actually be able to put up any of those accessory structures until the house is built there anyway. And that would be, conservancy, you pretty much can't build anything, but the underlying R3, that would be the case anyway. And not all of their property falls under the conservancy, so they could potentially follow the R3 requirements on a couple of small portions in that bottom corner.
And then anything outside of those 2 acres, they would have to request another rezoning, correct?
Correct. For the first 300, the conservancy district applies for the first 300 feet from the creek. If they get outside of that, then not necessarily. But that would be regardless of what the outcome today is.
Dustin, for the committee, this is Jody. Could you kind of estimate where that 300 feet is from the creek so that everyone can see that?
So up in the area where they're looking at, let me just make sure here. Approximately there. So if you shift that entire blob over, I would put it at about 100 feet maybe, is really what should be mapped as that. And then as you move down the line, oops, try that again. Essentially, you have a line running from here. That's really rough and approximate. But that green block should be shifted over like that.
Thank you.
Can you show us where the mound would be?
Right in this area. I believe was the area that was tested. Approximately where my mouse cursor is.
If where the,
Got the-
if you were to go straight south of the camper to the corner right there, to west, right where the trees meet the open field, that's where the mountain was gonna be. A little further west yet. It's right there. Yep, right about there.
All right.
Maybe a little
does-
bit, but outside of the 75 feet, that would be normal for anybody to be on a water line. Sorry about that. You can almost plan on that happening when you're on a call. So there was a couple of locations, but that's where Scott decided Babcock was going to put it.
And there are state regulations as far as the placement of a mound, and that's our office's responsibility to make sure they do comply with that. And the soil test I see does comply with the requirement.
Thank you. We appreciate all that information. It clears things up a lot.
I would just add, you know, as Dustin mentioned, that the house would be close to the corner, facing northeast. Yeah, at some point down the road would be to have a garage near the camper, and you know, the homestead would be in that northeast, right? And the rest of the property would remain as is.
Is there anybody else out there that wants to speak?
I don't think, I think you're still muted, aren't you?
In myself. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? It's in the committee's hands.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Who is the second?
Shapey.
Jody? Shapey?
Yep.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, raise your hand.
Roll call?
Roll call vote. I'm sorry. I'll get this yet. Yes.
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 All right, this has been approved. It will go before the county board on June 15th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you all very much.
Dusty, the wards?
The next application is for Frank and Lisa Ward. It's a rezoning request of a parcel, 32.61 acres from A115 exclusive ag with farmland preservation to A3 secondary ag on property located in the southeast quarter, northwest quarter, section 17, township 14 north, range 7 east, town of New Haven. There is no property address yet. One thing to note, and we will need is somebody not muted?
Yeah, I am. How you hit that for me?
Okay. So at the town level, the applicant and I had discussed prior about how much of the property was going to be rezoned. At the town level, the town participation form did say 5 acres instead of the whole parcel. And the applicant was okay with that. So we would need an amendment or a motion to amend the application prior to approval. But as of right now, the town did approve it at 5 acres at their May 20th meeting. And I received no other correspondence from what I can see. I don't know if there's any, Mr. Ward wants to build a house on this 5 acres or on 5 acres of it.
Mr. Ward, do you have anything to add to this?
Sorry, nope. We decided just to do the 5 acres up in the northern corner there. And we're just gonna put a house up there and then a shed for storage. And a driveway in. And then the rest of it's being farmed. So, other than that, no.
All right, anybody on the committee have any questions?
Do I have to-
Anybody have any questions? Is there anyone that objects to this? Is there anyone that wants to speak that objects to this? Is there anyone that wants to speak that in favor of this? Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor of this? It's in the committee's hands.
This is Larry.
I'll make a motion.
All right, Larry made a motion to approve. Oh, we have to have the amendment first. I'm sorry. Larry, do you want to do that first?
I'll make the amendment to approve.
Okay, a second to the amendment. Rocky.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote for the amendment.
Yes.
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 Yes. Now we need a motion to, for the rezone with the amendment. Chuck made the motion. A second?
Yes.
Randy, second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 All right, this will go before the county board on June 15th at 6 o'clock. And Donna and James Childs is tabled until July. Number 10 is really not in the public hearing part, is it? Okay, we'll
Barb?
go on to the, yes.
Could I just ask about the Donna and James Childs? You had mentioned earlier in the meeting that the original rezone to A115 did not meet with a comprehensive plan, but in fact it did. That is the Town of Easton one that you had mentioned with litigation. So I think if I see correct, Mr. Childs is on. And at the recent Town of Easton meeting, this was denied due to lack of paperwork. But at the meeting, Mrs. Childs was there and was asked if they wanted to go ahead with this R2 rezone, and maybe Mr. Childs can speak to that because it sounded like they did not.
Yeah, I'm
Can we
here.
do it? We can't allow it.
Well, allow this discussion or allow?
Okay, yes, discussion.
I'm just throwing it in there because it seems like we're pushing it down another month and maybe we could have it resolved right here and then,
We can't,
right here now.
Well, the one thing I can say to that, as far as whether we should be discussing it or not, is a different matter. The fact that the town denied it, the county cannot approve it today. I mean,
Okay,
that's
but what
pretty-
if the Childs didn't want it anyways, Dustin, is my question. So what if they want to stay with the A115 and not pursue the R2, which is what this rezone request is all about?
They could withdraw the application. That's their choice. Either withdraw it or we table it till next month after the town of Easton could hear it again.
So do we need to hear from the Childs then on this?
Has there actually been a lawsuit filed against the county? Or is it just threatened?
Yes, one has been filed.
Okay.
So
I mean, I guess we're already discussing if the Childs want to, I mean, if they want to let us know if they want to withdraw it, then yeah, we wouldn't have to table it and we move on to the alternative.
Mr. Childs, do you want to chime in with us?
Okay. Well, if it meets the comprehensive plan, I don't know what the problem is as far as why the lawsuit brought to where they say it doesn't meet the comprehensive plan. Does it or not? Can anybody tell me that?
Well, that's the purpose of the lawsuit, is to get a court to say yes or no.
But when Town of Easton originally saw this rezone to an A115, Dustin, I had called you, the land use is rural residential. And under that, you had said you could do residential, you could do agriculture. It was a broad category. So maybe the Childs need to know that the A115 does fit under, and I'm trying not to speak for anyone here. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it.
All right. I can address some of it. When the application was originally approved, it was approved on the assumption that it met the it was consistent with the comprehensive plan. And what you said is accurate, that it is a broad category. That is the approval that it met the comprehensive plan is the opinion of the town, the zoning committee, and the county board, and mine, that it is consistent. Whether a judge would agree, I do not know. I guess I would give that same answer for pretty much any question that you would face or pose to me. The other party in the lawsuit feels that it is not consistent with the comprehensive plan, and the only way we will ever get an answer to that is to have the court say one way or the other. And yes, the lawsuit has been filed. There has been there's a stay or at least a delay because both the Childs and the other party to the lawsuit and my office agreed that this would be a solution that would stop by applying to rezone the property to a different district, would stop the lawsuit, and we would all move on. If the applicant withdraws his application, the lawsuit would then move forward and the county would be in litigation.
And their current rezone of A115 would be in effect.
Correct. The property has been officially rezoned to A115. As soon as the county board voted on it, it was published in the paper, that became official. Now, if a judge overturns it, or if a court overturns that decision, then it reverts back to what it was previously.
Dusty, this is Larry.
Yes.
Being that we have a lawsuit, I'm guessing our hands are pretty much tied as far as what we can say and not say in a public meeting like this.
Yes, that's why I'm trying to word it carefully.
I would agree, but if they withdraw, this is the time to do it or not. I don't know. If they don't wish to proceed with, what is it, R2?
They can withdraw at any time.
This is the place to withdraw. Okay.
No,
then
they
I
could have
guess-
withdrawn. They can call my office and just say withdraw the application. We're not going to do that. Really, it's their attorney that should be doing it
Okay.
with the county attorney.
So is that how we leave it? Their attorney addresses the county attorney?
Yeah, this is not on the agenda. At the beginning, we amended the agenda to not be on here, so they really shouldn't be giving any official statement.
Okay.
My recommendation is if that's what they want to do, their attorney should contact our court counsel.
Okay. So at least we're not leaving them hanging though. So, okay. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our public hearing. We'll go on to the preliminary plat review of Lake Arrowhead Pines submitted by Secluded Land Company.
I did talk to Jerry. He was fine with it. There was one, I guess I don't know if I've told you guys, you know how we do that review group for like certified survey maps? We do also now put the plats through that same review. One item that came up, and it's really minor, but needed to be done. They didn't call it a county plat, and that's a requirement. And somebody in the review group caught that. So I think the version that's linked on the agenda doesn't say county plat, but that has been fixed. And really, that was the only concern Jerry had as far as meeting the requirements. Same with myself.
Do we need a vote now?
On the preliminary, we have not been. The final is the one that we are.
Okay.
Go on record saying I don't see any issue.
So the final one we'll vote on, but we don't. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Review possible action of Weinhauser Company. We had a message from the attorney, and I think we just follow that right now, right?
Yes, that was a situation where they felt that because Mr. Woodstock did not own the property. I have been in contact with Bill this morning, also his realtor. The realtor was directed to by Weyerhaeuser Company to do this, go through with the rezoning. The issue we had was that Mr. Woodstock signed it instead of a representative from the Weyerhaeuser Company. So after discussion with Corp Counsel, she suggested we start this process over. So we'll have another public hearing on it next month, and it'll go back to the county board on July 20th, I think. If that's acceptable to everybody, we'll just start it over.
Dustin, I'm a little concerned. If we do these rezones and they fall on the notion that it's a parcel, how do we proceed in the future if there's a midterm transaction going on and someone has a rezone?
The defining line, and it says it in the letter from Corp Counsel, is that, I mean, the state statute does say that the owner of the parcel is the one that has to apply. If they're the ones that apply and then it gets transferred after that, the owner of the parcel is still the one that submitted the petition. So I don't see where that would affect anything. What we have done in the past that satisfies it, and we missed it on this one, is a lot of times we get a letter from the owner of the property saying, so-and-so has my permission to apply on my behalf. And I also feel that satisfies that requirement. We could have gotten that on this one and we didn't. Technically, we still could if we wanted to, but in a cleanliness sort of fashion, we're just going to restart this. But you're right, it is somewhat common that it's a condition of a sale. And it's just a matter of who ends up signing the application or that documentation with the authorizing the person to do it.
Thank you.
Since we went, the surveyor's report was number 6 at the top. Jerry, do you have anything to add?
So we move you and now you want to go back to your normal spot?
He wasn't here for his for his new spot.
Yeah, I definitely apologize for being late here. I got tied up at the courthouse before I could get here. Really don't have much to add to this. Again, the good news was that $29,000 we got back from heirs from the Air Photo project. And also that we're looking at being done here with the remonumentation project. We just have to sort out how many corners will I have to do here in the near future. But I think I'd mentioned before that we're looking at some increases in the tax solicitor's software, that kind of thing. The different companies that we've looked at, one of them was fairly expensive and they've just dropped their prices considerably. So that's kind of good news too. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Jerry. And you're at the beginning of the agenda now. I didn't even catch that. Financial report?
Looking very good. The numbers in the one that's attached are through the end of April. We're always a month behind. But we're doing quite well. We're through the end of April. Revenue was at, what would that be? 230, about 40% already, something close to that. And our numbers, we had revised during the budget process, our revenue numbers were revised slightly higher. And we're on track. Pretty consistent with last year's numbers. And then if you look at the permit numbers, through the end of April, total permits that we issued, 527, compared through the end of April last year was 467. So total we're up about 60 various permit, and we're about 18,000 over, 18,000 over in revenue. So despite anything you hear to the contrary about lumber prices, and people are still building. We were down a little bit in new houses, I believe, in April. Yeah. 6 compared to 11, but now I think May has made up for those numbers. So it must have just been a little bit more of a late start, or people were delaying, hoping that the prices would go down, and now they see that's not going to happen. But we're doing, April alone, we doubled what we did last April, pretty much. Where does it show it? 198 to 138 permits, but revenue-wise, because of a lot of the new homes, 45,000 compared to 21,000. So we are definitely starting our busy season. That's all I have for those two.
All right, then we'll go right into planning and zoning department updates.
I've had a lot of correspondence, or not correspondence, but conversations with Town of Rome, and actually a couple of other, I guess, people and planning commission members. They do want, they're very eager to see the sanitary revision come for the campers. So if it is agreeable with the committee, I'd like to put that on as a public hearing for next month.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that. That'll make a lot of people happy.
Correspondence? None? The next meeting date will be July 7th.
Barb, Jody
Yes.
Shaky, could I ask something? I'm so sorry. On Jody's report, the last paragraph, she had mentioned the COVID-19. I don't know if you guys saw it's connected to the agenda. And I was just wondering if Dustin could weigh in as a department head also, with the proposed continuation of masking or PPE, whatever you want to call it.
Agree.
I'm just trying to get a feel for the department heads. So
Yeah, it's throughout this whole process for the last, what has it been, 15 months or so? Anytime any of these plans have been brought forth by, for a lot of it from Casey, but even Jim, they would write it, the department heads would get a chance to see it, and I didn't. I was surprised when I saw it in the email that, no, I think it's to the end of this. Rich, is it end of the year? Yeah. And now any place you go anymore, it just seems like nobody's, doing the mask thing. So yeah, I guess I was disappointed that they had always vetted everything, and a number of times we've had to change minor things or, different issues. So I was, it was definitely a departure from what we have been doing. And I don't know anybody who enjoys wearing masks. I know I would just as soon stop wearing one.
okay.
But that's, I guess, my 2 cents worth.
Okay, thank you. I noticed. Go ahead, Larry.
I'm up in Minnesota, and Minnesota has done away with the mask mandate, and that governor is very, very conservative, but he gave away with it. He said no more masks in Minnesota unless it's a business that insists on it.
Or for health reason that somebody might choose to.
Right, but then that comes down to personal
Yeah.
preference. So I noticed Cynthia is on this meeting. Cynthia, do you wish to weigh in on this?
I think it's on the agenda for planning for admin and finance.
Finance, yeah.
Yes.
But I'm just wondering if she could share with us, have any other department heads gone into this? And I appreciate, Dustin, your point of view. Actually, this isn't the place for this, so I'll let it go.
No. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
We have the date, our next date, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. 4 o'clock, we made it, 1 hour. At 4 o'clock, you're going to have it? 3 o'clock. Yeah, stay at 3.
3.
Just on the septic part. The septic part, yeah. So, it may take a little time.
Okay, 3 o'clock. We'll see Larry from Minnesota then.
Barbara, are we opening it up for public participation? Now, so meaning, can they come in person or are we still Zooming?